I'm on record. Uh-oh, nope, that wasn't me. Back there. Okay. All right. So first of all, I want to introduce myself. I'm Renee McElroy. I am the founder and CEO and financial counselor for Touchstones Financial Wellness Services. I want to welcome everyone to the first workshop in the money management series, which is going to be on budgeting this evening. Thank you all for coming. Thank you, Eileen, for allowing me to bring this money management series to the Parent Scholars Program. So welcome, everyone. As you all know, there are 4 workshops in the series. The budgeting workshop is the first one. We will also be having a debt workshop, a credit workshop, and a savings workshop, which also covers SMART goals. Each workshop, of course, is about 2 hours long. We may finish a little early. It depends on how long the workshop will run. But I hope we can, I hope we stay on time and we get out a little early. We will run through the material, and you can put your questions in the chat. Eileen will be monitoring the chat for me, and we will probably, just to save for time, I will have some time at the end of the presentation to go over the information at the chat. We will also have some time in the middle to go over the questions in the chat as well. Okay? All right. Before I get started, before I go past this, does anybody have any questions to start before I start? Okay, no questions? Okay. All right, so let's get going. Okay, so first of all, one of the main things that that Touchstones really looks at is and what we're kind of built on is financial empowerment. Okay, we like to empower individuals to take control of their financial life. Financial empowerment is what we feel is using financial tools and understanding to develop a plan and to take control of your financial situation, so that, if you find your bills are piling up, we feel it is important for you to remember that you are still in control, and that any small steps that you choose to take can lead to big changes, so that you don't feel, that you are overwhelmed, that you still have, the control to, to make changes in your life. Even if it's small ones, even if it's, what my husband and I call baby steps. So there are 5 signs of financial stability. And these 5 behaviors can lead to certain outcomes. Okay. So the first one is spending less than your income. And the outcome of that is having money left over. The second one is having savings. Okay. And of course, that shows by you having money in savings account or any other type of savings tool. The third one is paying your bills on time, and outcome of that is not having any late fees. The fourth one is, of course, managing your financial products, such as your checking accounts, savings accounts, loans, things like that. And of course, again, that is by not having late fees and things like that. And the fifth one, which is being satisfied with the financial aspects of your life, and an outcome of that is not being stressed. Okay, not having financial stress. A big research is showing that a lot of stress that is showing in individuals now is financial stress. So that's one of the ways that we look at signs of financial stability is being satisfied with your financial life. And an outcome of that is that your stress regarding your financial situation is lower. Okay, so we're going to stop here very early on and do an activity, which for those of you, I heard from Eileen that you did a lot of you did not get your folders. So there are I'm going to actually stop sharing for now. I did say stop sharing, right? I'm going to stop sharing because for some of you didn't get your folders. So in your folder was a My Money Picture survey that kind of went over some questions to kind of see how you felt about your money picture. So what I'm gonna do since if you did get your folder, then that's great. You have the survey, which is the survey. If you did not get your folder, what I'm going to do, I am actually going to read some of the questions, and they're yes or no questions, which is very easy. It's very easy to answer. They're yes or no questions, and you can actually put your answer in the chat, which makes it very easy. So so for those, I'm trying to see if you because there are reactions here. Yes, you do have reactions. So if you did get your folder, can you raise your hand? How many of you did get your folder? So it doesn't look like anybody on here right now got their folder. Okay, so that makes it simple. That makes it simple. So that's fine. Okay, so then I'm gonna read the question, and basically you can just put a yes or no in the chat for the question. Okay, so don't think too much about it. Okay, don't think, just listen to the question and just put a yes or no. Okay. And like Eileen put in the chat, like just check your mail for the materials. Hopefully you will have it by Thursday, by the next class. Okay. Okay, so question 1. Do you have dreams for you or your children that require money to make them happen? Yes or no? And I know, Keisha, you can't type this in because you're in the car. Oh, she did type.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
Keisha
did
typed
type
yes.
it because I was like at a red light, but
Oh, thank
yeah,
you.
I'm almost there though. I'm almost there, like
Okay. Okay.
maybe
Great.
7 minutes.
Okay, and
Okay. You keep going.
the other person, can you tell us your name? SCS.
Eileen, this is Paula.
Okay, Paula. Thank you. So Paula Jones.
Oh,
Yes,
okay. Paul. Oh, excellent. Okay. So I have 3 yeses. I don't have,
I'm a yes.
okay, Maria. Okay. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people. So I should have more answers than I don't have
I'm a
the
yes.
same answers for my people.
Okay. Oh, and Maria's here. Hi, Maria. And I see Belkis is here too.
Okay, so
I'm a yes.
we're gonna go to question 2. Again, are you behind on rent, car payments, or other bills? Again, yes or no? So just type in the chat. Okay, so that's question 2. Okay.
So
All
2
right.
yeses so far.
So I'm getting
I'm a
something.
no, Eileen.
Okay, you're a no.
Okay.
Yeah.
And 1
Okay.
hello.
Okay. So then 3, do you usually have about the same amount of income every pay period? Yes or no?
That's a yes for me.
Okay. Okay, if you can type
I see
in the
1 no and 2 yeses.
because that way I can keep track. I'm trying to keep the answers track there. Okay. So then so number 5 says, can you cover all of your bills and living expenses each month with the money and other resources you have?
Hmm.
Okay, I got 1 yes. It's going to be a yes or a no.
Kashana is yes.
No, I got a yes. Okay, I got a no. I got a yes and a no. Okay, I got another no.
That's Maria.
Okay, yeah, that's Maria. Okay, so I got a yes and 2 no's. Okay. All right.
I cannot type my own in, Eileen.
Okay. What's your answer, Paula?
Mine is a no.
Paula
Okay.
is no.
So we got a yes and 3 no's for that one. Okay. So now I have, are you having trouble paying student loans or other debts? Yes or no?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Are you having trouble paying student loans or other debts?
Thank you.
Mhm. Yes. A yes. Okay. 3 yeses on that one.
Eileen, that's a no for me.
Okay, got you, Paula. No for
Okay, that's
Paula.
good. Okay. So next question is, do you feel like you're spending too much on things like fees and interest to access and use your money?
Yes.
Yes, yes,
That's
yes,
a yes for me.
yes.
Mm.
Okay, that really got to people. Okay. Okay, we know which one people don't like. Okay. All right. Okay, and the final one, have you had issues with any financial product or service like a bank account, a loan, a mortgage, a debt collector, or a credit report that you haven't been able to resolve? I knew I'd get that one. I knew that one right there. I knew that one would touch a nerve. Oh, someone said no. Oh,
That's
Keisha
a
said
no for me, Eileen.
Keisha
And no
said
for Paula.
Okay, okay. Well, there's a couple of people who haven't had any problems with people, but that usually touches a nerve with people because I know
Yep.
the credit report people can be they can have and debt collectors and mortgage companies and rental people can they are not the easiest people to deal with. Okay. So no, so okay. So it does sound like people that people's money picture is not looking right. Okay. It does sound like that there are a lot of places that people could use a little more help with, and that you could, can clear some cobwebs out of and do some house cleaning. Okay, so that's what we're going to talk about a little bit today. All right, so we're going to go back to sharing. And we're going to go to our next. So let's see. Oh, okay, I got to click on it. Oh, click on you. Oh, here we go. So where do we start? Right? Where do we start? It's like all of when you think about money management, one of the things that we think about is like, where do I start? How do I get started with all of this? So one of the things you want to start with is just some simple questions. Okay, it's like, am I spending money on things that I don't need? Am I doing that? I don't feel like I'm doing that. And am I considering my needs versus my wants when I'm out shopping? You know, just doing my regular shopping. Is that something that I even think about when I'm out shopping? Do I even think about that? When I go out and I do my regular shopping, do I think, do I really need this? And you know, do I think about that? And third is, how much do I think about what I'm spending? Do I compare what I spent last month when I'm making my budget for the new month? Do I think about that? Do I think about how much I spent last month when I'm looking at this month to plan my spending? So those are three things that three questions you want to ask yourself when you're coming up with a spending plan. Okay, and most people don't. Most people, these three things don't even come into people's minds. Okay, they don't think about this, which is what gets them into trouble when they're planning their spending. So the next thing is, where did my money go? That's kind of a common question people ask themselves when they're starting out a new month. It's like, or even when they're ending a month, it's like, where'd all my money go? I'm pretty sure I started out the month with this. Why don't I have enough money to pay my bills at the end of the month? It's like, where did my money go? And so when you're trying to track your spending, one of the things, when you're trying to figure out how can I do better, it's like, I tell people, tracking is an excellent way to help you get control of your spending. One, it helps you to set priorities. It helps you to control your finances, and it also gives you clarity. It helps you to understand more about where you need to make changes. Okay. And honestly, people don't want to hear that. People don't want, when I tell them to make changes, it's like, why do I have to make changes? I like my stuff. I don't want to change my stuff. Don't tell me to change my stuff. It's like, well, you do know you have to make changes, right? It's like, no, I don't want to make changes. It's like, I like drinking coffee every day. It's like, do you know how much that coffee costs you? Do you know how much that coffee adds up to every month? It's like, well, no, I didn't really think about that. It's like, well, maybe it's time to really think about that. And so that is where tracking helps people to think about things like that. And this is where the spending tracker comes in handy. So, tracking. How many of you already track what you spend each month? You can put in the chat if you track what you spend each month. Yes or no? Do you track what you spend each month? I don't track it all. Okay.
That's a no for me.
Is a no for you? Okay.
Yeah, I don't track.
Sometimes. Okay. I try. Okay. Okay. All right. So the one good thing with tracking, and I'll tell you, you're not alone. Tracking can be hard because you have to be committed to it. The people who do track, and they use a system that they can stick to, right? This is what I call, this form is what I call baby tracking. I call it baby tracking because it is a very simple form. It usually gets people started in the habit of tracking, okay, before they move into like an app, okay, because there are tons and tons of apps out there that can help you track, right? I use this as the baby tracking because this way, usually it's like they can use it the first couple of months that they get used to get into the habit. And then what I'll do is have them change into an app, because an app is something that they can have on their phone that they can do in real time, right? But this helps them to get into the habit. This helps them to set it up, and then what they can do is transfer the categories that they've set up here into the app that they choose to use, right? And then they move on from there. But the spending tracker helps them to get into the habit of tracking. Now, one of the things that I've always said to people, okay, when you start tracking, and it takes time. When you start tracking, you cannot wait till the end of the month to track. Okay, you can't go and then put everything in week 4 or week 5. And so many people do this. Okay, I've worked with so many people, and they come in and I'll say, okay, how'd you do tracking? They're like, oh yeah, it went okay. I put everything in the end of this week. I was like, well, this is the end of the month. You're supposed to track each week. They're like, oh yeah, I ain't had time for that. I just put everything in. And then they wonder why they didn't have enough money. I was like, tracking is you do it each week so that you can see how your spending is going and you can make adjustments. That's the whole point of tracking. Because if you wait until week 4 to write in what you've been spending all week, then you've already spent that money. So you can't make any adjustments. If you've already spent, if your budget is 500, and by the time you got to week 4, you've already spent 6. So it's already messed up. You can't, it don't do nothing. Okay. Eileen, raised hands. Yes.
That could be so painful to track, everything that you spend in a day that adds up to that week. It can feel really painful because, sometimes there's shame associated with what you're spending your money on. For example, I know for me doing Weight Watchers, tracking my meals, there's occasions when I want a Snickers bar. Having to actually write that down can feel very painful. But it's something I wanted that day, but still, it takes me off my calorie,
That's not, but
what I'm
see,
trying to achieve. So
tracking your spending is not tracking your Weight Watchers. That's not
but you don't think it feels the same type of
not-
emotion, like
because
it's an emotional
the
thing
one-
with spending money? No.
that the one thing, and this is where I work with people
Okay.
to talk to, because I had that, because the first time and this is, I mean, I've done this for like 4 years now. When someone comes into my office and we talk about the spending, and I had this person come in, and they were talking, and they were like, they didn't want to show me their, you know, they were like, do I have to put everything on my spending tracker? It's like, I don't care what you put on your spending tracker. It's not, I told him, it's like, I'm not FBI. I'm not the cops. I'm not, your spending tracker is between you and me. And honestly, I have no judgment on your spending tracker. It's like, if you go out and you buy a nickel bag, and he's like, oh, you know about nickel bags? It's like, yeah, I know about nickel bags. I said, if you go out and you buy a nickel bag, I said, that is your business. It's not my business. It's like, but I'm trying to help you to manage your money. So I need to account for where your money goes. You need to account where your money goes. You spent, you know, this money on a nickel bag. So he's like, so where would I put that on my on my spending form? I was like, well, it's going to go on the other. Okay, you just put, you know, recreational, and and you spent this on that, and that's where that went. And I was like, I have no judgment on what you spend your money on. I said, if you do that, that's not on me. It's like, this is between us. Like, think of me as a counselor, which I am a counselor. I was like, no, it's not about that. And honestly, you should not have shame on what you spend your money on. I mean, if that's on you, that's on you. If you feel shame about buying that nickel bag, then you need to rethink why you buying that nickel bag. But as far as you putting it on your spending tracker, I'm just here to help you manage your money so that you have more money to spend on your nickel bag. And he cracked up. And that's it's not about shame. It's about you having control over what you over your finances. That's what it's about. It's just like someone who coffee is their want. And I was like, okay, you don't need to buy coffee, but you want to buy coffee. Okay, I understand that. It's like, I'm not going to tell you can't have your coffee. I'm not going to make you feel bad about you wanting your coffee, but you want to have money in your budget. So we have to figure out how your coffee will fit into your budget. You may not be able to have your coffee every day like you're having it now, because that coffee, when we work it out, costs you $300 a month. And when they found that out, they're like, oh, because I helped them to see that. So once they realized how much that coffee cost, then it was real to them. So it was like, there's no shame in you wanting to drink coffee. There's no shame in you spending $300 a month for coffee. People spend more than that on cigarettes. And again, I don't shame people for spending that money on cigarettes. If they want to smoke cigarettes, you smoke cigarettes. But we have to figure out a plan so that you can continue to smoke cigarettes without not having enough money to pay your rent. And that's real. That's where we are. It's not about shaming people on what they spend their money for. It's about helping people to find the money in their budget so that they can have the wants that they have without it limiting the things that they actually have to spend their money on. There's no shame in any of this. It's about empowering them to understand money management so that they can continue to have some of these things without it limiting the things that they do have to spend their money on, their needs. How the needs and wants work together.
So I can't raise my hand, but
Oh no, go
my
ahead.
daughter had that on. My daughter had that on her phone. And
Okay.
I can see where Eileen is coming from, because she had it on her phone, and ever so often, I don't know what budget she made, and ever so often she's like, my phone is screaming at me. I went over about $10, so I went over my spending money. I can't spend any money anymore. And she did it for a couple of times, and then she just stopped doing it. Me personally, I don't even want to see what I'm wasting my money on.
See, and that's and that's why you have to make sure that you have the right tools.
Okay.
See that's what I mean. That's why I won't do that. And see, that's why me personally won't do a Weight Watchers app. I don't need some app telling me what I can and cannot eat. Okay. But you have, and see, and that's the difference between an app and a real person. Okay. You have a real person walk beside you who can actually sit down with you and guide you, and a counselor that can help you, that doesn't make you feel shame. That's different than an app yelling at you. And that's why I don't like apps. That's why I don't like the money apps. That's why I don't like the apps that the banks use and all of that, because I believe in real people. Because see, if she had a real person who was walking beside her, she wouldn't have quit. Just like the people who do, just like with Weight Watchers and all, that's just my own opinion. But yeah, that's the difference between that's why I said, that's why I start people on this versus in starting them on apps, because with this, they do their tracking, and then they come and meet with me each month to go over their spending, and I can work with them on understanding the patterns, and they don't feel the shame of the spending, and we talk about it, and I give them positive feedback, and it's a whole different, they get into the habit of it, and they understand it's a whole different feel than having some app yell at you.
Hmm.
You can't talk to an app.
No.
No, you can't. No, you can't. You can't talk to an app.
Hmm.
You can't have that conversation. You can't talk to the app about, well, you know what, this happened, and this is why, I went over this month. Or, oh my God, I had such a hard time at work, and I needed to do this. And then, apps doesn't listen to that. App doesn't know you had a bad week. App doesn't know, yeah, no. You need a person. That's why I do what I do. That's why I believe in real people. And sometimes you need a real person to walk beside you to do this work, so that they can help you through, because a lot of this is behavior. A lot of this is talking to someone to help you understand. It's not shame to have a bad day and need to go and do some shopping therapy. Okay. But you also have to be able to understand that after you did the shopping therapy, now I need to sit down and figure out, okay, how do I adjust my budget to fit that in? Because we all have bad days. I mean, when I have bad day, my thing is, I need to go and buy me something, because I like comfort food when I have bad times. So I go and I buy me some comfort food. Okay, so now I did that. So let's see. Okay, so what do I have to adjust? That's my, we all have our ways of dealing with, bad days, right? And a lot of it is, has to do with buying things or comfort food or something like that. But we also have to adjust for it. And that's what this helps us do. That's why I said the spending tracker helps us to do that. Because if you spend a little more in one week, then you look to it, then you can look and see, well, how can I adjust it this week for what I spent that week? Anybody questions, comments? Before we move on from spending tracker. And like I said, I am here to help anybody through all of this. That's why I'm here. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Oh, no, it's not. Okay. No, where'd it go? It went back. Oh, no, budget forms. Okay. I see that. Okay, so speaking of needs versus wants. Okay, so we all know, we all know that needs versus wants. So as I said, it's all about separating needs, obligations, wants, but we can empower ourselves by taking control of our financial life by identifying our needs versus our wants, right? So one, as we all know, needs are things that we must have to live. And that's, we're looking at our, looking at food, lodging, clothing, transportation, and obligation. We're looking at the debts that we owe and payments that we're ordered to make. So, and then wants are things that we like to have but can survive without. But as I always tell people, needs can also turn into wants depending on our own perspective. Because if we look at any need, we can turn any need into a want, especially if you look at your clothing. Clothing is a need because we all got to wear clothes. We're not walking around nude, right? I mean, some people do, but we aren't walking around nude. But we can easily turn clothing into a want depending on what type of clothing you want to wear, right? So, we can shop at Walmart or we can shop at, Lord and Taylor. So depending on your need and your want, right? Same with our transportation. We all, for the most part, we all need transportation to get from here to there, unless we're riding the bus. And in Columbia, you really don't want to ride that bus. But again, that need could turn into a want depending on what kind of transportation you get. Okay, because you can drive, you can drive a I mean, no car is cheap anymore. I was trying to think of a cheap car, but no car is cheap anymore. I was so sad. But I mean, depending on the car payment that you have, you can I mean, in general, you can have a reasonable auto, okay, or and I've seen, or you can end up with look at Lexus and all those other higher one things. Even though I can't see any of us driving a Lexus, I mean, you can lease one. I don't even know how much it costs to lease one, but I mean, but I mean, And honestly, I've seen people with like $700 car payments, and I'm thinking, why? Why did you get that? But you know, people have their wants, right? And then and honestly, in terms of housing, none of us have, I mean, the housing need right now, we're all stuck with that because there are no low price housing as it is. So I mean, the housing situation has turned everybody into a want these days because housing for everybody is very expensive. So we're all kind of stuck in that situation. Um, and as far as food, the same thing. We're all stuck in terms of the only need versus want is whether you buy regular food or you eat out. So you know,
Or
you
store
have
brand or not.
right. So honestly, that's even become a thin line right now.
Mhm.
With the with the way stores are marking their brands these days, it really is becoming
As the
very,
prices are almost the same. They are.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
So it's really become a thin line that
Yeah,
now you're really looking at who has the best quality because there is no real difference in the prices.
that's
So
right.
it's like they have people, it's like it's just ridiculous. So honestly, there's a thin line now. The line has become whether you cook it yourself or you pay, go out and do a restaurant.
Yeah.
So honestly,
Yeah. And
yeah,
then you got to worry about your health with that because
yes.
you don't know what they putting in the food. You know,
And
everybody, it seems like, is having the same health issues at the same time.
yes, yes, and that's where the line is drawn also in terms of needs versus wants, because honestly, the need is my health. And now it's like I need to buy healthy food. And healthy food, they charge you even more for that.
Right.
Mhm.
And
So
Belkis agrees with you. It's like sometimes it's higher. Yeah, in the chat.
yes, no, and you are absolutely right that if you have a health condition, if you have an allergy, you are paying twice as much for the food that you need than you would for someone who, you know, who could eat regular food from the store. It, so honestly, these lines are becoming very blurred. They're very blurred. And so it really is increasing the budget, the budgets for food. And so you really do have these blurred lines in terms of what our needs and our wants are because
A
where it
quick,
used to be.
quick
Oh no, go
question.
ahead.
Since the lines are so blurred, can we get tax credits for vision care?
Um
I'm just saying. You just said the lines are blurred, right?
the lines are very and you know what? I would depending on your insurance, you just might be able to, because insurance now does cover um vision care, and it has become because of the way everyone's vision has been like going down the drain, you probably could.
Yeah, because I mean, they expect us to keep reading between the lines. My vision is messed up,
Oh,
you know, so
no,
I can barely see now. So is that
you're
a tax
talking to the
write-off?
you're talking to the wrong person about vision. I have no vision. I my husband's surprised that they even let me drive. But it's
My
very
God.
I'm serious. I am totally serious too. But honestly, in this case, it's time to look at alternatives where you're looking at be very vigilant about who gives discounts, who gives, you know, where can you find alternative prices? Where can you, what other options can you see for, you know, like I said, for people who have allergies and need special food, who has the best deals? I mean, you have to really start to be strategic about where can you get as good deals as you can.
Question. I wonder if anybody is in the medical field and if they know eventually through our health savings account, if we have a special diet, would we be able to purchase those under our health savings account?
Oh, that is actually something to look into. Because
That's an excellent question.
I'm old, okay, so I have Medicare. So I mean, Medicare offers me like a ton of crap. And that's through, you know, they have all kinds of things for food and health things and all that kind of stuff. But if you're not old and you don't get Medicare, I would really look, the health insurance and healthcare people they do offer. So that's why I said look at your health insurance and see what they offer. Because honestly, I did not know that my health insurance offered, you know, like a free what is it? You know, the fitness club membership. I didn't even know I had that in my health insurance. I'm like going through all of this, and then I find out my health insurance offered me a free membership.
I would
So,
think, Keisha, that if you have a health conditions like diabetes or something, that and your doctor prescribes it or recommends a certain thing, that it probably is you probably can apply it towards your what is it called, your medical spending account. So it may be
what you
worth
say for
looking into.
diabetes, with
Right, for
kidney,
right, like for a
kidney,
medical
high blood
condition, like if
pressure.
your doctor, right, if your doctor make a recommendation, it
Yeah.
may be, you may be able to apply it towards your medical spending account.
Yeah.
And I know what you're saying, Renee. I know my dad is a senior, just so that those who are caring for senior parents, my dad is on Medicare and he uses Humana, and Humana sends him a whole box of prepared meals that he just has to, put in the microwave each week.
Yeah, they offered that to us too. I didn't want it, but it's offered.
Right, it's offered. So
Yeah.
those with senior parents.
But also check in with community organizations that may offer, because I know, like I said, if you have any type of allergies or anything like that that would require you to spend more for certain things than normal, check for because I know is it safe? There is an organization that provides food for people who have like allergies and things like that. They do that. So there are organizations that are out there to help to kind of lower your food budgets. Because I know food is expensive. It's expensive as anything. That's a real expensive
Yeah, so help
item.
us get around this expense. What do we do?
To get around the food expense.
Yeah, what do we do?
And like I said, the biggest way that people try to get around it, like is depending on like food pantries, the safe
The
food
food banks
pantry.
denied me The food bank denied me, so that doesn't work.
Well, there are other
See
pantries
that?
besides there's other pantries besides food bank.
Can you believe that though? The food bank denied somebody.
Well, the food bank is set on certain guidelines because they're by the county. But other food banks don't necessarily have the same guidelines as the food bank. So you have to sometimes go outside the box and and there are check other food banks beside the county food bank. And there are other food places. I mean, because you have church food banks, you have other food banks besides the food bank that do food.
Yeah, there's this group, I think there's a group called Fish. They offer food to people also. They're like a food bank. And then also I know some churches have some flyers that if you wanted to buy poultry, is half the price compared to the store. But I don't remember the name of that group. But some churches have those flyers that if you didn't have food and you wanted food, they will give you those flyers that would have those places like half price.
Okay,
And
well,
then some
we need to
churches-
get that information. The
Yeah,
half
and
price
and
information.
yeah, and there's
Yeah,
and there
I'll check with my church
churches,
and get it.
yeah, and
Yeah.
there are churches that have food banks that have food banks that they don't require you to that you can just go and get food each Sunday, that kind of thing. So there are other places to get food besides the food bank. And what I can do is after this, what I'll do is see if I can get get some information on other food banks. I know my church has one. They have an excellent food bank. That's open every Sunday.
And there's also Ugly Fruits.
Oh yeah,
That,
yeah.
What's that?
Yeah. It's like, for the grocery store, they have to have the perfect veggies and fruits to put out on the stand. So the imperfect is either imperfect fruit or something. So they have all the ones that people would not buy because it doesn't look perfect. So you could go online and actually get your vegetables and stuff from them, and it's pretty cheap and it's good.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not
It's online. So that's online only.
Yes.
Ugly Foods. I'm gonna look that up.
Yeah, if it's not ugly, it's in imperfect fruit or imperfect veggie or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you can also look for Fish. Is it Fish or Fish? I don't know. Fish. They help you with food too.
Fish, FISH, fish.
If you guys find any organizations that can help, send them to me and I'll put together a list.
Okay, I will. I'll email you some resources, Eileen, and that way you can.
I will.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're gonna move on to planning for and paying bills. So while you're working on your needs and your wants, the next step is planning for and paying bills. So like I said, many people have recurring obligations like their rent, their utilities, their car payments, child support or insurance payments. So one of the things that we want to do is the big thing you want to do is avoid any late fees, right? Or other consequences when you're paying your bills. So you want to make sure that you're paying things on time. So one of the things is you want to make sure that you're tracking your bills in order to make sure that you're paying them on time. So make sure that you're keeping track of when things are due, when payments are, are supposed to be, paid, things like that. I know things get hectic. Nope. Sorry about that. That's my alarm to let me know it's 6 o'clock. That things get hectic, especially with, with parents and when you're trying to go to school and all of that, and you don't want to, to lose track of when things are due and things like that. I know, take it from someone who did school, did work, did parenting, all of that. And I did it before, there were smartphones. And, I did it back in the day. There was no smartphones. We did have computers. We did have computers, or what they called computers. You guys are so lucky. You have these computers, you have your smartphones. We had word processors. That's what we had. We had word processors. Yeah. And we eventually did get computers. We did get Macs and we did get PCs. But you guys have so many, so many things at your fingertips. But there's several ways that you can track, of course. You can do a bill calendar. I have my planner, of course. I have my planner that I use. You can use a smartphone app, of course. Email messages with a bill reminder service, and other apps that are specifically made for bill payments. So those are several ways that you can do it. And then there's several ways to pay your bills. Of course, most people do credit card or debit cards. You can do an automatic deduction. Okay. So auto debit, that's probably the most used way that people use to pay their bills, is an auto debit. You can do an online bill payment where you just go online and do the bill pay, bill pay, or you can do the old-fashioned mail your payment. I don't know if anybody still does that. And honestly, I think months ago they actually had recommended against that because there have been like an uptake in people breaking into the mailboxes and stealing mail. So they had actually had urged people not to put checks in the mail. So
which
I
one
mean,
do you recommend?
oh, go ahead. I didn't hear that.
Which way do you recommend?
I have, and you're looking at someone who had to be dragged away from mailing payments, but I have actually I've recommended the auto payment. Because that is it ensures that you avoid any late fees. Now, here's the caveat to that, okay? Do not set an auto pay if you do not have the funds to maintain it. Okay? Instead, do an online bill payment. Okay, so you have the two ways, two options. So if you know that you have the funds, that you're not gonna end up with the money not being available, or you set that auto payment to a credit card that is gonna be, is gonna have the funds attached to it, then that's fine. If it's not, then do your hand. And it's always going to, it's always, you always going to be able to go in there and make the payment, and you don't have to worry about, the mail part, and it's going to always be paid, directly. As soon as you set it, it's paid, it's there, it's, and you have the date. The only problem with the online bill payment is you have to make sure that you set that, you have that date set, and that you do it on the date that it's supposed to be paid. The auto payment is automatic. They get it, they have it, you don't have to worry about the date. It goes in there. They're going to send you a notice saying, oh, your payment's going to be paid on this date. You good, don't worry. But the online bill payment, you're responsible for that. You have to make sure that you make it on the date that it's due. But once it's paid, it's good. And you can set it up either to a credit card or directly to your bank. So, and again, you just have to make sure that that money's available when it's paid. And same with the auto debt. You have to make sure the money's available on the card that you put it on. So, those two are fail-safe, methods. If you set it up for the auto debit, and for some reason you run into problems, just make sure you go in and cancel that auto debit. You have the ability to do that. You just have to make sure, if you know you're running into a problem, go in there and cancel that auto debit so it doesn't go and and take it out and the money's not there, and you run into a problem with it. You can go in and cancel the auto debit and then do an online bill payment for it if you run into a problem. But you just have to, those two things, you just have to make sure that you keep track of. And that's something where you have a bill calendar set up, or you have in your planner, you have a sheet that has, what your bills are, like, that your rent's there, that utilities there, because the things that would be set up under that, would be like your car payment, your utilities, your rent, insurance payments. Those are things that would be set up for that. Okay, so that's how you would set those up. Any questions?
Yes, I was listening to somebody and they said that the ones that are reoccurring, that it fluctuates in price. You shouldn't put that on repeat to get that bill because this price change.
So that would be, okay, so the recurring would be, so like I said, the auto debit would be like things like your car payment. That's not going to change. Okay. Your insurance payment, you set that up. Well, like for mine, my insurance payment is a 6 month. Okay. So
Right.
that's set up for an auto deduct for the 6 months, and then they send me a renewal of my thing. They don't auto deduct it unless I approve the next 6 months.
Okay.
Right? So I have to approve it for the next 6 months, and then they do the auto deduct. So it's like either I approve what my premium is, and I say,
Right.
okay, so then it's already set up and I don't have to do anything. So that's my insurance payment. My utilities are whatever my utilities are. But I know what it's gonna be, because they tell me, because they send me a thing and tells me, okay, this is what your electric is this month. So I know what it's gonna be, but it's still set up that way.
Okay.
I mean, that's how electric works. I mean, whatever my electric, I mean, usually my electric doesn't run high, but But that, and that's how, I mean, it's electric, it's whatever. And my water, the same with my water. They send me a bill like maybe two weeks ahead of time before the auto deduct to tell me what my water is. So I know what and usually it doesn't change.
Mhm.
I mean, if it's gonna change, if it changes, I mean, I gotta check my water and see where there's a leak. But I mean, usually that's
Right.
not gonna change, right? Okay. So those are the kind of bills those are the kind of bills. And then your rent's not, now
No, that
rent,
doesn't change.
yeah, that's not the, and honestly, rent, I would do an online bill payment for my rent. I'm not having my rent be auto deduct. I would do an online bill payment for my rent. Just because I want to
Right.
go in there, I want to go in there and physically look at and pay my rent. I'm not just having that be auto deduct. The other ones are fine, but the rent is that's just something that I'd rather go in there and just, physically pay that, just to make sure that, I'm doing that. But the other ones are good for auto deduct, and the car payment's the car payment. That shouldn't change. So yeah. But I don't know if much of them would fluctuate enough to make it be that that different.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. Any more questions? Okay, so this next one is, so when you're looking at, let's say if you have to make choices, let's say in lean months, or if you're tight and you have to make choices about, what to pay, or how much to pay, and you have to prioritize your bills. There's a particular form that you can use, and just like I said, looking at needs and wants and obligations, you want to be able to look and see, okay, what is important to pay? How do I prioritize my current, items for the month, in terms of what is the most urgent that I need to pay? Like I said, you have your needs, you have your wants, you have your obligations. And there's a tool, and again, when you get your folder, you'll see this tool in your folder that kind of shows how to kind of look at different things, and how to see what's, and honestly, everybody's priorities are different. No one person is going to be the same as the other, because everybody's household is different. Everybody's priorities are different. Not everybody's needs and wants are going to be the same. So you look at the form and determine it for you, in your household. And so it allows you to take a look at what your month looks like, and how what things are important to you to pay. So it breaks things down based on the needs, the priority list. So it basically looks at things that you need for your job, insurance that you may need to pay, and it looks at them based on the priorities of the bill and considerations for that bill. So it looks at transportation to get to work. It looks at whether you need equipment or uniforms, and it looks at whether you need childcare. It looks at car insurance, it looks at health insurance, and it looks at renters or homeowners insurance. And then it looks at things that you want to consider in terms of those particular things. You can put the amount that may be there, and then the priority of the bill that that it may, you know, whether you need it or not. And it gives you some considerations to look at. And then here it looks at housing, and then it looks at different obligations that you may need. And then, like I said, it has whether you have rent or whether you have mortgage. It looks at your utilities. It looks at whether you have water or garbage or sewer. And then here it looks at some of the obligations such as credit cards, loans, child support, or court order things that you may have. And you can write in other things that you may have, and you can have other, you know, there may be other housing things that you may have that you may need to pay. And like I said, it looks at considerations whether if you don't pay them, such as like here, if you don't pay your rent or mortgage, it puts it, if you're late, you may risk late fees, you may risk possible eviction. And it also has here, you may strain your relationship with your landlord. It also says if you don't pay your utility bill, it may get cut off. And also they may charge you fees to get reconnected. So they give you some things to consider if you don't pay them, okay? And like down here, it also gives you some considerations if you don't pay, you know, some of your debts. It gives you those considerations, such as, you know, of course, late. If you're late in your credit card, you may have to pay a late fee. You may risk negative entry on your credit record, lower credit scores, higher interest rates, and things like that. And if you had any type of court order fines, if you don't pay court order obligations, you may face legal consequences. Now, court order fines could be like, let's say you had a driving ticket. You know, a lot of people, which is always kind of amazing to me, people who don't pay their traffic tickets. A lot of people don't pay their traffic tickets, and they end up with fines, and they end up with losing their license and things like that, and you know, it amazes me. It's like you had a traffic ticket that was only $50, and now it's like 200, when you could have paid the $50. But you know, people, I don't understand it. But that's a form that can kind of help with prioritizing. If you run into trouble with, like, during the month with just not having enough to cover things, and trying to figure out, so what should I pay, and how should I figure this one out? Okay. So we're gonna take a break. So this was an activity where we were going to stop to look at that form, but since a lot of you do not have the form right now, I'm going to give you guys a chance to take a break before we go on to the next one, the next slide. So I'm going to give you, we've been sitting here for a little bit. I'm going to give you a 10-minute break to go stretch and potty, and we'll come back. How's that? Yes?
That sounds good. I just
Okay.
wanted to let everyone know Belkis had to leave. She had a 6:30 class, so she's gone. But before she left, I did announce that after this workshop and the workshop on Thursday, you can come to my office, and I'm leaving movie passes at the front desk. $25 movie passes at the front desk for attending these first two sessions.
Yeah,
So you can pick them up on Friday.
I'll pick it up.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So go have your potty drink break, and we'll see you in 10 minutes.
Okay, 10 minutes.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay. We are back. Hello.
I'm here.
Okay. All right, so let's take a look. Okay. All right, so as I just wanted to cover just a little bit on contacting lenders, loan servicers, and other creditors, just in case you find yourself behind on any of your, your obligations, whether it be, if you find yourself behind on your rent or mortgage, if you are, in a mortgage situation, or even if you find yourself behind on any of your utility payments or credit cards or anything like that, I just like to urge, I find myself just urging individuals to make sure that you're reaching out to lenders, or or your creditors, or your rental providers, just to let them know what your situation is, um just so that they know that that you're having trouble. I tell people all the time that what they don't know is what will harm you, because they are, they're sitting there, and all they know is that they haven't received your payment. They don't know what your situation is, so therefore they can't make a honest honest decision based on your circumstances if they don't have all the information. So if you reach out to them and you talk to them, then it allows them to at least have all the information, and it also allows you to tell your story to them. So when you do contact them, make sure that you're prepared to provide them with all your financial and employment situation. Make sure that you let them know how much you can afford to pay, if anything. Let them know when you're likely to be able to restart regular payments, and also be prepared to discuss your income, expenses, and any assets that you may have. They can be a good proponent for you, but you have to allow them to help you if they can. It really helps to make the phone calls before you start receiving phone calls. And if you make the first step, it really shows that you are proactive in your situation. Any questions?
So what does it say about us when we don't make the call?
It honestly, to them, it's just like when you don't receive calls from people, when you don't receive calls back from people, it tells them that you're ghosting them. It tells them that you're not interested in working with them. And honestly, uh what they see is somebody who um is not financially stable enough to even take part in their own financial, their financial situation. So I mean, I always tell people, put yourself in their shoes. You made a commitment to make to make to for this contract with them, for this financial contract with them. Um, right now, all they see is that you're not meeting your obligation, and you haven't made any contact with them. So that's how they see you in their eyes. and it's bad because even for people who have made payments on time, they just that act of not making those payments and then not taking the time to communicate with them why puts a bad, it gives them a bad idea of who you are. So just by making that contact, reaching out to them and making that contact and explaining to them, this is my situation. And you can even add to that, as you see, I've always been on time. I've always made my payments on time. It allows you to tell your story, to have your voice.
I got a question.
Yes.
2 questions.
Yes.
One is those insurance that come along with your credit card, is that a good thing or a bad thing? And on some instances, before I had where I called the creditors and that lady was so rude and mean, I just hung up on her.
See, and I tell people, it's like, you don't know what kind of person you're going to get on the other end of the phone. Don't judge the whole company by one rude person. Because we all know. I mean, we all know. We all know that, that one bad apple does not spoil the barrel. Okay. And it doesn't, because you're gonna get, every now and then you may get the bad person. Okay. But not everybody is a bad person. And because I've called people, and I've got wonderful people on the phone. I mean, I've gotten that where I call doctor's offices, and I can get the nastiest person. But then, every now and then I get the best. I get the, you don't know, and don't count them out because you got the evil one. Okay. Don't count them out. Don't count them out because you got the evil one. Because chances are they have some wonderful people, some wonderful customer service people that work there. You just
I had to
got
ask that lady. I had to ask her. I was like, "Is this your money I borrowed?"
No, exactly. No, and you know what? And sometimes you have to call back and to get the good person. And
Okay.
Doing that every time though. Who's doing that every time? Calling back. Who's doing that?
You know what? You know who's doing it? You know who's doing it? The person who gets something done. Okay? Because you
can't call back. You really mad. But if you got to call back, you really mad.
Hey, I've done it for clients. I've done it for clients because I know I want to get results. And that means that I will, I may get a nasty person who tells me, yeah, I don't do that. It's like, okay. Then I guess I'm gonna be calling back. And I'll say that to them on the phone. I'll say, then I guess I'm gonna be calling back and I'll get somebody better than you. But sometimes you have to make that.
That's what you tell them.
Yes.
Well, I do. See, what I do, I usually have to call and tell them to put the person on the phone who clocked in to work. Is usually what I have to do.
I see, and sometimes you have, you don't have to, because because I realize I'm older now. Realize you can't yell at people. You just have to talk to them nice. I mean, not nice, but civil, and just say, okay, I guess you had a bad day, and I guess I'm gonna have to call back to get somebody nice, and just leave it at that. And they usually will get huffy and hang up the phone on you anyway. And But you know, which is funny because those calls are recorded. And I'm like, you know, you getting recorded and you gonna get that, so I guess you don't care. But you know, and it's like I'm calling somebody else, and you call back. But you know, sooner or later you get somebody who cares about their job and who cares that they get recorded and they not gonna piss you off. And you know, and it's just a matter of, you know, just waiting to get somebody who actually cares about what they're doing. And yeah, it takes a minute, but you do. And honestly, I haven't gotten a lot of pissy people. I've actually gotten nice people most of the time who takes to actually talk to me and say, oh, okay, and actually cares about what they're doing. So, you know, that's a good thing. But you do have to make the phone call.
What about the insurance that they offer you? So like if you're in hardship, it will come from that.
The with credit cards, they automatically are insured for like what theft and identity theft and all of that and that. What kind of insurance are you talking about in terms of the credit card?
So okay, so one time way back when I had those creditors, people call me and you try talking to them, I was like, I'm not dealing with these people anymore. So sometimes when you have a credit card, they will offer you either like what, $6-12 a month, that if you fall on hardship, they'll take it out from that money. I've paid it before, and then sometimes I pay my bill, I stay on top of it, and then they'll call me and say, we're closing it because you've been paying your bill well, so we don't feel like you need it. So they offered me that, and I took it because I know I went through a whole lot with other creditors before, so I try to stay on it. But I have gotten those before. I don't have them now, but I have gotten those in the past, and they just call me and tell me they were closing it because I'm not delinquent or anything like that.
Okay, here's my question to you. Instead of paying them $12 a month,
Mm-hmm.
why don't you take that $12 and put it into a savings account?
Well, I don't stay behind anymore because those people are so nasty. I'm just like, I don't need to deal with them. So I pay on. Me personally, when I have a credit card, I just tell myself, like, if I have 3 credit card or 4 credit card, if I put $100 on each one of those, that's $400. So I limit myself. If I do $50, I limit myself for the month on what I can pay back. So I try not to go over $50. If I'm going to use 2 credit cards, I don't care how much I'm using, but I try to stay limit under $150 because I know I can pay that back. I can't go more than that. And if I do have to go more than that, I don't mind, but I'm going to pay $150, so it would be less for me to pay. But I limit and I count that.
But that's my thing was the $12. If you put that $12 into a savings account, that $12 will add up. It is adding up. It's adding up. Whether you need it for your credit card or not, you have that money there
Right.
for whatever.
Well, yeah, that makes sense. But at that point in time when...
Yeah, you're paying yourself.
Yeah,
and
but...
whether you need it for that or something else, it's there.
Right.
It's not
Yeah,
it's not going to the credit card company. It's going to you.
Yes. Yes.
Right, because the credit card company is getting a float on your income versus you getting some kind of interest on your income.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's going to you. It's yours, and you can use it whenever and if you need it. So that's my thought. Don't tell the credit card company, no, that's my insurance now. It's mine. I'm paying me insurance. Yeah. That's where that's going.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. That's why I tell me whenever they try to give you those little insurance things, it's like, no, No, I have my own insurance. It's called the insurance of me. Yes. Yes, that's what you do. You do the insurance of you. Like, don't give other companies money. Yeah, you pay yourself. Yeah, they don't need no money. So finally, here, and we were talking about this. So finally, where do we get this money? Where do we get, like, where you get at $12? Where do we get this money? So, I know people like, I don't have money to reduce money. If I had money to reduce, if I could reduce stuff, then I would already reduce it. But there are like ways you can reduce things that you don't even know you had to reduce. Okay, so there are so many reduction things around that people don't even know they have to reduce. But there is, and you have this in your packet. It's called cutting expenses, and ways that you can cut expenses. So like people don't know that they're paying bank fees. It's like you have hidden bank fees that you can, and again, like I said, pay yourself, take those bank fees and put them, save them. Or even like making ATM withdrawals that assess fees. So think about where you're taking out your money. If you're taking money out of places like when people get there are people who take money, who get extra money when they go to the grocery store and it says, do you want cash? And it's like, yeah, they charge you fees for that cash. So don't do that. And it's like, stop getting cash back. Yeah, from when you use just what I just said. When you're getting, never take out cash anywhere other than your bank. Because anywhere else that you access cash, they're charging you for that. So it's like, spend only cash or money that you have and leave debt and credit cards at home. A lot of people, and I don't use cash anymore. I don't take cash out. My husband does. He takes cash out and that's all he uses. He takes out a certain amount of cash and then he uses that. And then when it's gone, it's gone. But I don't use cash. I use my debit card. But I don't even use that for anything. I don't buy anything. But if I have to buy something, I use my debit card for that. But I know how much I have to use, and then I put it back in. Then it says stop. Oh, it says stop using credit cards. Good luck with that, guys. But if you can stop using, I like what you said about you have a limit on your credit card, and that's set a debt limit for your credit card. If you know, and you say, this is how much I'm going to spend because this is how much I can pay it off with. That's a great idea if you set a debt limit on that card. That's a good way to do that. If you don't want to stop using your credit card, at least set a debt limit for it so that you know this is how much I can spend to pay it off. That's a great way to do that too. If you want to refinance your credit card debt, a great place to do that is a credit union. If you don't have a credit union, think about getting a credit union. This one says don't eat out. Like I said, I don't tell people to stop doing things. But if you can limit how many times you eat out, that is helpful. Cut back on telephone use if it costs you money. That if you have a phone where you are paying per, how many calls that you make, then you want to think about that. If you don't have unlimited, call use, then that's an idea about that. Avoid paying for entertainment, rather do activities that are free. And honestly, if you're not sure about free activities, check your local county bulletin there and see what kind of free activities they offer in the area. I know summertime's coming up, so you got all the free concerts coming up and all that nice stuff. that's coming up. So that's out there, and they do the free movies now and all of that. So all that stuff's coming up for the summer. It says reduce or stop spending on luxuries such as clothing and movies. And that's where your wants and needs come in. Clothing, a lot of people, I know I'm one of those people who I only buy clothing if I need it, not because I want it. I have my husband and my family laugh because they say, my clothing, I think I have clothes that have been around for like 10, 15 years. And so I only buy, I mean, it's only seldom that I buy a new pair of clothes. So then you have like CDs and DVDs and things like that. Cable, we do streaming things. And then you have we haven't had a landline phone in I don't know how long. I don't even know landline. And then you have find cheaper auto insurance. Good luck with that. If you find one, let me know. I mean, we don't pay a lot for our auto insurance, but I don't know. But again, I tell people cheaper doesn't mean better. So watch with doing cheaper service, because sometimes when you get cheaper service, you end up paying more money because you have to make up for the cheapness of the service. So cheaper doesn't always mean better. And then so instead of doing cheaper, here we go, ask for a price reduction for things like your cable or your internet or your insurance. So sometimes it's better to ask for a reduction in the price other than going and changing services. You can go in and ask for a reduction in your price. And sometimes that's a better way to go instead of trying to look for something that's cheaper. So we did that with our internet, and we are so happy that we did that. So yes.
I do
Question.
that with my cable bill. I tell them all the time, I said, look, this is the price I want to pay. I just want cable. I don't want the movie channel or anything. And according to the price they offer me, I said, okay, I'll go shop around. And Xfinity always gives me the price that I want.
See, and that's what we ended up doing that. We had Verizon, and they kept sticking it here, sticking it there. And we finally just like, no, we found something better. We got to go. So we switched, we got rid of, we had them forever. And they kept telling, oh no, we can give, and they kept lowering it a little bit, and then they go back up, and then they lower it. Every time we complain, they lower it, but then they go back up. And then we're like, no, bye. And then we found somebody else, and it's been so much better, and it's so much cheaper. Yeah. We've still yet to find. Oh, and we did that with our homeowners insurance too, which is, oh my God, we like it. We like cut our homeowners insurance in half when we switched from them. It's like, yeah, my husband was like, I got to get out of this. So yeah, we did the same thing with our homeowners insurance. We switched them too. So yeah, so it's like you just have to, sometimes you just gotta bite the bullet and just do. But you gotta go and look. You gotta go look and see what's out there.
Shop around. Like they say, shop around. Just gotta shop around.
You gotta shop around. There's so much out there. There's so much out there to shop around on. There really is. There's so much stuff out there to shop around on. You do have to, you just have to look. Yeah. Our phone service is still, our phone service is good. We're still doing good with our cell phones. So those are holding tight. So they're okay. We haven't had to change those yet. But yeah, they keep trying to get us to upgrade. We're like, no, we're fine. We don't need new phones. We like our phones. We're fine. It's okay. We're good. Like we don't need an upgrade. We're good. It's good. So so you just gotta look. But it's always a good time to change. Okay, I think. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Okay, so we made it right in time too. So any questions before we go?
No, thank you. That was very informative.
Like I said, I am here and available, as you see, I am here and available. Whenever we still got three more but I'm here if you have any questions, if you need to talk to me, I'm here. If you end up with any questions that you think of, I'm available. You can shoot me an email, which is right here. You can shoot me an email, and I will always answer any questions that you might come up with afterwards. I am available to answer. So there's my email right there. If you want to write it down, I'm gonna leave it there for a
I
couple of
just
seconds.
want to say this was really fun. I think I'd love your energy. So this was, I had a good time.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Well, I want to say thank you all again for coming. I hope to see all of you next Thursday when we
This
talk about
Thursday.
This
This
Thursday, is it?
you know what I
This
mean.
Thursday.
This Thursday. I'm
See what I'm
sorry.
saying? I love it. I love your energy.
When we talk about, we're going to talk about debt. I love
Debt.
talking about debt.
Well, thank you so much, Renee, for agreeing to present to the parent scholars. We really do appreciate you and all the work you have done with our students over the last, I don't know how many years. You have been with the college. We really do appreciate you. And this was a wonderful presentation. And I'm looking forward to that on Tuesday. And as I said, on Thursday. And as I said, I'm going to leave movie
Yes.
tickets at the front desk for everyone on Friday to pick up. And you should have your